There you go.
It's not built for like normal locals and stuff because it all dies to random decks, like really stupidly random decks. But against the meta, it's actually quite good. This is built for obviously the next meta, such as like Insectors, Wind-Ups, Ninjas, and that stuff. It's got quite a good matchup against a lot of them because a lot of the stuff is good in Grave, and I've just sort of changed a few tech choices that work well with the deck in Grave. So here we go. Here's this, where you've got your Frog Engine, so that's 3 swap frogs, which is kind of obvious. For those who don't know what this does, you can discard a water type monster, special summon into the field, and when he's summoned in any way, you can send a level 2 or lower water monster, aqua type water monster, from your deck to the graveyard, which is great for generating frogs. And one of the best things I think about this card is the fact it can bounce itself or another card on the field back to your hand to normal summon another frog again. Yeah. So you can just bounce it back to hand and keep playing special summons, which is great. A lot of people think that you can't do it more than once, but you can. Next, obviously, I'm running 3 dupe frogs now. I was running 2 at YCS Brighton. Originally, another one of these was a flip-flop frog. Because it was really great to bounce back like laggers and stuff like that. But now, because the Insectors are so easy to blow up the field and wind-ups can kill stuff easy, I figured 3 is basically this card dies. When this card dies and sent to the graveyard, I can search for a frog monster apart from Duke Frog and add it to my hand. Really great to search for swap, which is the point, and it's got 2k defense, which is pretty strong to get over, and if there's more than 2 of them on the field, it locks my opponent's attacks, so it's pretty cool. Very rarely use the lock attack thing, but when it's good,
it's always an option.
3 Ronin Toadins. Now, I love spamming this guy so much. Obviously, if anyone doesn't know his effect, he banishes a frog monster from my graveyard to special summon into the field. It can't be synchro, but what he can be used for is overlaying. This card overlays to Gachi pretty much every other turn. It's fantastic. It's got 2k defense on its own, so it's great. It can be sent to the graveyard by Swap Frog, which is mainly what I use it for. And it banishes my frogs, which is key. That's the key thing. This card's the key card. People should hit this card as quickly as possible when playing a Lancer deck. A lot of people don't do that, but this is the key card in the deck sometimes, and they need to hit that as fast as possible. Next card is 2 Poison Draws. Now, people tell me why don't you run 3 or 1 run because it's rubbish, but the cool thing about this card is it's a great card to hit with Ronin Toadin, and it's a great card to thin your deck with the Swap Frog, and it's also makes a great creature swap target. You know, you summon this, creature swap to your opponent's side field, take their monster and crash over it for lots of damage, and then you draw. And when it's equipped to Lancer, you just get so much draws off it. It's fantastic. So, 2's the right for that. And then I run 2 Treeborns. Now again, don't run 3 because it's over the top, and it's a very popular like banish target. And 2's fine. I mean, 3's over the top. 3 becomes dead draw. 1 isn't enough, so 2's good for now. And it's a frog monster, so it hits all the requirements as well. Then we've got the key card of the deck here, Sea Lancer.
Underrated boss monster.
Underrated boss monster, yeah. Pretty much the key end of this deck, if you haven't guessed it, is to summon as many Gachis as possible to banish all these useful frogs, such as Poison Draw frogs and the Duke frogs, and then to get make as many Gachis and stuff like that to defend you, and then tribute for Lancer, activate his effect and equip him with all of the cards you've banished. Because when they get sent from the spell and trap card zone when attached to Lancer, they still get their effects. So, for example, if I had 2 Duke frogs and 2 Poison Draw frogs equipped to Lancer, and my opponent say Heavy Stormed, I would draw 2 cards and then search for 2 cards, or search for 2 cards and draw, depending on what you send them. No questions asked. Although you have to be careful, your opponent can interrupt the chain. If they do, you miss the timing on all of these, so you have to be very careful on how you play this. But if you play it right, you can get so many pluses off it. One of the things I like to do is to summon my own Lancer, and then get rid of my own Lancer, and as soon as my Lancer's gone, I get all those pluses, at which point I can recycle the Lancer and then use it again. It's fantastic stuff. The Lancer's great. It gains 1,000 attack when it's equipped with something, so you always want to have him equipped. And with Gachi, he's 2/7, on his own he's 2/3. He double kills with Dolka, which is nice. If only he was 100 points stronger, it would be so good. But yeah, 3 of them. 2 Caius, originally was 3, but I was drawing too many tribute monsters at any one time, and 2 Caius is fine. I love this one. I want to replace it with this one, but I can't. I'm just looking to trade them. But yeah, 2 Caius is great. I don't even say anything about Caius. Caius is
just good.
Caius is cool. Now we're getting on to 2 Maxis and 1 Effect Veiler. I'm going to do all these times for the trap monsters, really. I want to bump this up to 3 Maxis, because Maxi rex pretty much wind-ups and Hornets?
Insectors.
Insectors.
Yeah.
Well, not insectors as much really, but it's useful against it. Lots of draw power. The best thing about specifically Max is it's level 2, so if anything I can overlay it for getting more Gachis, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the great thing about Beck Veiler is I can synchro with my my level 1s to make formula at a push, and then overlay that because it's level 2 as well. So many people are like, you can't overlay synchros. It's like, yeah, you can. So that's
just not common practice.
Here's obviously obligatory Sanyan.
Yeah, it just searches everything.
Yeah, searches pretty much everything.
Even the boss monster.
For Brillaraka. Now, I originally had Snowman Eater in the deck, but with the new format coming up, Snowman is way too slow to be used. So I figured I tried this out, and it works really nicely. For those who don't know its effect, basically, when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it when I think it's a sea serpent, fish, or aqua type monster is attacked. You can banish this, target the opponent's monster. It loses final attack and negates the attack, so it's like a Necrogarden with added bonus. And because of the fact it banishes itself, it's a fantastic target to be reused with Lancer, because Lancer will bring it back to the spell and trap card zone and then send it back to the graveyard, at which point you can reuse it. Yeah. So it's a fantastic little card. It helps me get over the power monsters that might be, say, I don't know, 2/8. That lets me double kill them with Lancer. So that's a pretty nice card. It worked really well for me in playtesting. So yeah. Obviously then we've got the Gauze, because it's Gauze.
Yeah.
A lot of people might ask why I'm not running Tragoda. It's because I usually, if they wipe my field, I like having a Gauze more, and I find he's a bit more useful than Tragoda, because at least I can tribute summon Gauze and he will always have 2/7.
Yeah.
And one of the things about this deck is his hand varies in size, so Gauze is better. I mean, Tragoda would be useful, don't get me wrong, I want to include him, but for now it's Gauze. Last tech card, but I will strongly defend this card to the ends of the earth. Obelisk Tormentor. Now, I bet some of you are like, oh my god, this guy's a scrub because he's using a garden. Ugh. But this card has won me so many games. It's unbelievable. Again, for those who don't know, this card requires 3 tributes to be summoned, and when it's summoned, no effects of any card, spell, trap, or monster can be activated. And its summon cannot be negated. That means warning, judgment, all that lot, they just die. It can't be targeted by card effects either, and I can tribute 2 monsters I control, destroy every monster my opponent controls, and it's got 4,000 attack. One of the best things you can do with this deck, because obviously you run the obligatory sort of swapping cards like creature swap and stuff, is you can steal your opponent's monsters, say their Sangans and their Tengus, and then tribute them off for Obelisk, and then you reveal to them that they can't get them, because Obelisk effect again. Because you tribute Sangan with this, you don't get Sangan Surge. If you tribute Reborn Tengu, you don't get his effect, because he just stops them. It interrupts that completely.
Ow.
And it's so funny to do that when they've set a warning and they think you've got you, and you just go tribute 3 Obelisk Tormentor. And it's a 4 KBC that can't be targeted by monster effect. It's fantastic. So, yeah, this card is brilliant.
It's awesome.
It's fantastic. On to spells quickly. 2 MSTs. I want to run 3, no space, but we'll deal. 2 enemy controllers because I run 2 frogs. It's great for a defensive card, and the whole Treeborn Frog comes back on the standby phase combo. That's brilliant. And 2 creature swaps, because creature swap is fantastic in this game. You just give them a 100 attacking monster and you steal their brilliant card. So many BLSs were stolen with these combos, it was unbelievable. And now a very underappreciated awesome card in this deck is Salvage.
Oh yeah.
Salvage is an immediate +1 and is fantastic for recycling all your frogs. It can recycle your boss monster. Lancer is a 1/3 water, so if you discard this with say Swap Frog to get Swap Frog to discard, you just add it back to your hand with Salvage. It's brilliant. 3's over the top, 2 is fine. I mean, it's just nice.
So abusable.
Yeah. Gold Sarcophagus. This originally I didn't put this in because I thought, it's too slow. But this deck can let you live for so long due to the strong defensive like Gachi and bringing back Ronins and stuff. So I figured, hey, play that, call Obelisk, that scares the crap out of them. Play that. Call the Lancer, and then to bluff or something like that. It's just fantastic. It's a brilliant card, and I'm really annoyed I didn't put it in sooner. I run 1 Pot of Avarice because although I want all the frogs in the grave, I burn through Exceed monsters so quickly, and if I can't have access to Salvage, it's just nice to put stuff like Obelisk back into the deck, so I can at least draw 2 and plus off of that, and I can put 3 Gachis back, because you do go through your Gachis really fast. Really
easily.
And then you've got the staples, which are pretty much Book of Moon,
Reborn, Dark Hole,
Heavy Storm.
Heavy Storm, yeah.
They're staples. Some people might dispute these in this type of deck, but they've done. I mean, I've never regretted having them.
Always help.
And I run 1 trap, which is Treacherous Trap
Treacherous.
Hole. The reason for this is because a lot of people said to me, why don't you run Trap Dust Shoot? Now, I like Trap Dust Shoot, I really do, but this is better for this type of deck, because the problem with this deck is it is very defensive and then it explodes. And this card is great just to set and they push and then you go boom. And then in your turn you've got a clear field, they can't really do much and it's like, oh, what do I do now? And it's such a nice card as well, just pop off 2 monsters there. And the cool thing is you can pop off your own monsters as well. So like if you say set a Dupe Frog and they've got a cool monster and they summon, you just go bang, pop your Dupe Frog. Their monster goes, and because at the end of the chain the Dupe Frog resolves, it doesn't miss timing, so you can get a search or poison draw and such like that. So I mean, if you pop off a freaking Gachi with this, you don't even lose anything. Oh, one overlay unit goes, it's a Ronin, let's bring it back. So it's fantastic. Onto this extra deck, Chimeric Fortress, because Cyber Dragon can really wreck out a lot of stuff, and it's a bit frightened of Karakiris this deck is. 3 Gachis. This card is MVP in this deck. Seriously, man, you get 3 of these bad boys out fairly often. I mean, on average I hit about 2 Gachis on the field. 3 is brilliant because they all just pop up everything by 2, 1, 2, and they have 3k defense and nothing's getting through that. Wind up Zen mains. I don't run a lot of level 3s, but I do steal a lot of level 3s.
Yeah.
So it's nice just to be able to go for Brilla Raka or Sangan, and if I'm going to really need to, just overlay to Zen mains. Zen mains is pretty much, in this deck, it's second to Gachi. But if the frog's level 3, I just go to these all the time. 1 Levier the Sea, in case they banish something I really don't want out of play, and I can steal something back off them. It's just in there because it's nice rank 3. And Tyrannis, Keeper of Genesis. A lot of people might be wondering why this is in here, but again, I steal a lot of Cyber Dragons, and what's it called?
Sea Lancer.
Sea Lancer, that's the one. Sea Lancer is level 5, and sometimes you just overlay them and then get all their freaking draws off their back row. It's just fantastic, and it's a great card.
It was used quite a bit today as well.
I used it quite a lot. I've been using it quite a lot recently because I put it in and I was like, oh man, I can hit this a lot more often. Because it's the fact it can't be destroyed by card effects, and with the Gachi on the field, this thing hits 3k, and when it attacks, when it does any sort of declares an attack, you can blow something up at the end of the battle phase. So it's just brilliant. It's great. You've got the Obligatory Synchros now, which I don't really synchro often, but when I do, you've got the Trishula, Scrap Dragon instead of Stardust, because Stardust is pretty much redundant in this sort of deck, because I don't really mind stuff dying, and I can blow stuff up. You've got Black Rose, Bryanak. Yeah. I've got 2 level 5s because I hit them fairly often. That's to sort of block off plants if I can get there, and that's just sort of Catasta, so it's freaking Catasta, man. I hit that semi-often, not often, but the one I hit most of is Formula. The fact he's level 2 means he can overlay with everything else, so it's just hilarious to go Formula and draw 1 and then go Ronin, whoops, that's overlay, and they're like, oh my god, I didn't know you could do that. But yeah, this deck is very consistent when played correctly. You can't sort of spam it, you have to sort of play it very sort of cautiously, and then when you know you've got it, you've got to go for it. You can't withhold anything. I mean, you've got to really go for it when you're playing it, because you can't afford to go, well, if I don't bring back the Ronin, will I lose? You know, there's a lot of times where you just go summon one thing and end, and then just let your opponent go. It's all about knowing what your opponent's going to do as much as what you're going to do. Because the fact you can go to Gachi is pretty much whatever you want and whatever speed you want. As soon as you draw a Lancer, if you mid-game and draw a Lancer, you're going to win. Because this card is pretty much like a Gachi on steroids. So this card is really underrated, and this deck is really underrated as well. It does me so well. I think worst matchup. The worst matchup for this deck is probably... My god, that light is
I'm trying to get back a bit.
No, it's fine. The worst matchup for Lancer Frogs is probably... I mean, I'm not too sure, because it sort of does generically well against all decks. Wind up, sort of the whole hand destruction thing isn't that threatening, because most of the frogs would be better in the grave anyway. It suffers from some bad hands, not like really bad hands. The draw is recoverable. Insectors aren't really a threat either, because they pop off a dupe and you get a search. It's like, well, that was helpful. Ninjas are a bit of a problem. I mean, they've got their super transformations and stuff like that. It's not that big of a deal though. I mean, it's not exactly like it's a huge problem. I mean, the only thing is if they super ninja you, the only thing you can be careful is if they super ninja transformation your Lancer, you won't get any of your frog's effects on it.
No.
But that's very rarely do they tend to do that. By the time you've got your Lancer play ready, they'll very rarely pop it off like that. And if they do, you just salvage your back and keep going. But yeah, it's a pretty good deck. I'm going to refine it a bit more. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff I can do with it. This is like the 10th build of this. So, yeah, if anyone has any advice feel free to put it on the comments below, or just call me an idiot. It's all good.
Yeah, probably that one.
Probably that one. Yeah. Alright, well, we'll probably have a game in a minute so people can see
cool.
how it plays if you're still unsure. But yeah, that's my Sea Lancer deck.
Alright, cool. See ya.